Today's video on fast drafting is going to be short and sweet because we have novels to write and not a lot of time to do it. So today I'm going to share with you 5 tips that have helped me to fast draft my novels better. And then I'm also going to share what fast drafting actually is, for those of you who don't know, and why it is so valuable, because why would we bother to follow these techniques if we don't know the point of them, right? First of all, if you don't know what fast drafting is, it's exactly what it sounds like. You're writing the novel really, really fast. I've had too much coffee, don't mind me, I'm a little jittery right now. But fast drafting is writing the first draft of something as fast as possible. And it also goes by the name NaNoWriMo. Oh, hi, is that why you're here? Ah, me too. So that's what fast drafting is, but then why is it valuable? Well, I'm sure there are lots of reasons, but I have 2 specific reasons that I think it's so incredibly valuable. The first reason is that it keeps you from getting stuck. Raise your hand if you've ever spent way too much time in chapter 1 and you've rewritten it over and over and over and over and over again, because I've definitely been there. It's a thing that almost every new writer does when they first start out, is you kind of get stuck in this, I need to make it better before I can move on. But the thing is, you can't get good at writing a whole book if you're only ever writing the beginning chapter. To learn how to write, we all need to get the entire arc of the book from beginning to end. We need to write the entire thing as messy as it has to be before we can learn how to fix it completely. And so a lot of us, myself included, have made the mistake of just editing chapter 1 over and over and over again. Fast drafting is valuable because it makes you move forward. It pushes you past the first few chapters, past that perfectionism, past the fears and the uncertainties, and it just makes you keep going. It's like, you know, figure it out later. We're not worrying about getting it perfect right now. We're just worrying about finishing the book. The second reason is actually cohesiveness. So believe it or not, I have again made this mistake where I drafted my first novel over a 10-year span of time. And I have got to tell you, oh my gosh, you would not believe how much you can forget about your own story, about what you ended up putting on the page, you know, after thinking through 5 dozen options in what you actually went with. It can be amazing how choppy a story can be if you write it over a very long period of time. The story was so confusing to me that at a certain point I actually just had to start over from square one and literally just trash everything that I'd done before, because it didn't even match what I had in my head later on. And you'd think I would have learned from that, but The Enchanted Crown, which is the novel I'm working on right now, I fast drafted the first, what ended up being the first 2/3 or so of it, and then I didn't write the ending until a year later. Just a couple months ago, this September, I finally came and finished the ending. And when I look at the book as a whole, now that I am currently editing it, oh my gosh, it's like somebody took 2 completely different sets of puzzles and tried to cram them together, and they don't match. And so I'm doing so much work trying to make everything cohesive and flow and sound the same. Even my writing voice has changed. So I am a perfect case study. I can speak from my mistakes, and I would say that if you take a really long time to write your first draft, it can be really hard to remember everything. So fast drafting is so incredibly helpful for keeping everything fresh and top of mind, and you know, just wrote it yesterday or last week, so you remember what you want to do going forward. It's so helpful. I can't say enough good things about fast drafting. All right, are you convinced? Do you feel good about it? All right, either way, we're gonna go to the 5 tips now, because I have 5 tips for you that personally help me. Again, these are just tips that work for me, so take it or leave it depending on if it helps you or not. But the first tip that I'm gonna share with you is something called placeholders. This one is really common, and whether you're fast drafting or not, it's super valuable. But especially during fast drafting, it can help you to keep moving forward. What do I mean by placeholders? Okay, a lot of writers do this differently, but it boils down to when you can't find the right word that you want, you just put a little note to yourself in some way, shape, or form, and you come back to it later so that you can keep moving forward during that particular moment. So for example, a lot of times this could be character names or places, or maybe specific world building aspects that are going on, or maybe even just things like, I know I want a better verb here, but I just don't have it right now. So what you do is you find something that works for you to put a note in your manuscript that you'll come back to later. And so the best thing you can do is make it something that's really easy to find. So for me, I like to just go the simple route and put things in parentheses and put something like write this later. And a lot of times I will actually use the comment feature and I will just highlight the spot and I will put write later or fix this or just something simple. You can easily word search parentheses, and usually you won't have them anywhere else in a fiction story. I don't know about nonfiction, but I'm talking about mainly fiction here. So what I put in the parentheses will change, but sometimes it'll be like need a name or country by the blank blank, you know, like, so I will just put like what I want it to be, but I won't worry about making it perfect. And I'll just put it in parentheses so that I know this is not the completed work. Other writers I know will use the highlighter and they will put like yellow highlighter over anything that's clearly not done. Or maybe you have the character or the place and you're like, describe it later so that you can add more details, and you know that you're gonna come back and you're gonna flesh it out more later and you're making a note to yourself, but you're not gonna do it right now. And that's okay, because part of fast drafting is not letting the things that you're not sure about slow you down. So if you're not sure, now we can't do the whole novel this way, unfortunately. I know, I wish, but it can help for the things that where you're just really, really stuck and you're like, okay, I've been sitting on this for too long. I need to keep moving forward. I've also heard of authors putting in like an X or 2 X's in a row, because that's another thing that you can word search later. But however you decide to put in the placeholder, the point of it is that number one, it's helping you move forward and not worry about deciding that particular thing right now so that you can keep writing. And number two, it's really wise to make it something that you can find later, usually through a word search or something that you can spot easily when scrolling, like highlighting or comments. Number two is bullet point notes. And so I'm gonna show you, this is my little notebook that I've been using for the Enchanted Crown, but I'm gonna back way up so that you can't read it. This is not like a Pinterest method, by the way. This is extremely messy, and this is just my particular thing. I don't know any other authors that do this, but it really helps me. So I'm gonna show you. Don't judge me. Can you read that? Should I hold it upside down? I really hope you can't read it. Just don't try to read this because it is about the ending. You're gonna spoil it. That's a little too far. It's just like getting the ideas out of your head and onto the page. So I literally have pages and pages of this where I just scribble notes to myself. And you'll notice that sometimes it's scribbled out and other times it's not yet. As I go to write the scene, I will scribble it out as I put that particular thing in. So then there's like things that I haven't done yet. I wish I could show you closer up because it really is messy. Like it's just like, okay, let me see if I can find one. Sometimes it's questions to myself like, okay, so if they go here, then what would happen with, you know, this gift and that thing? And I don't want to reveal anything, so this is hard to show you without over showing, if you know what I mean, but hopefully that makes sense. So bullet points, I think the reason that this is so helpful is because of the messiness. So it removes, again, the perfectionism that can really hit us writers so that we can just kind of word vomit on the page. Sorry for the gross picture, but that's kind of what it is. It's just like literally getting all the ideas out of your head. And then when you're able to see them on paper, usually you find some nuggets of gold that you can then translate and put into your document. Number three is to set a consistent time for yourself to write, because if you are showing up at the same time every day, it's starting to build a habit. It's going to make it easier for you to get in the zone. And number four is along those exact same lines, which is to have a consistent place to write. The same place that your brain, again, starts to associate with writing. So time of day and a place, and you consistently show up, it's going to start building habits in you where your brain gets into the writing zone so much faster. I do have a video about this. I will link it below on writing habits and routines, because it honestly is just a really big part of getting into the writing zone faster and just getting in that place mentally ready to write. And number five is deadlines. And I realize this might go almost without saying during NaNoWriMo because the deadlines are all really built in, but I think it's important to bring up because if you are a serious writer, and I think that you are, if you are here, then you're going to continue on writing past NaNoWriMo, obviously. And so you're going to need to build in deadlines yourself. Like the NaNoWriMo deadlines are amazing because they not only have that long end goal sort of deadline that you're shooting for of 50,000 words, but they also have daily deadlines or goals. You could kind of use those words interchangeably. But the idea is that, like for me, for example, I'm a nano rebel, AKA I'm not writing 50,000 words, but I am working really, really hard on my novel. And it is National Novel Writing Month. So I think it still counts that I am here participating with all of you, very much so. In fact, I actually do hope to use these fast drafting tips at the end of the month to start fast drafting a novel. So my goals aren't lining up with the exact NaNoWriMo deadlines, but I still set deadlines for myself because I know how valuable they are, because again, they keep you moving forward and not getting stuck. And that is the point of fast drafting. So for example, I am currently editing The Enchanted Crown for my beta readers. And so I have deadlines every single week where I have to get the next set of chapters to them. And I hope to be able to write a little bit in fast draft at the end of this month. And I think I'm going to set a 20,000 word goal before the end of November. And so if I have that goal, that gives me a deadline, something to shoot for, that I have to get going, get moving, and not get stuck in maybe that first chapter. Because honestly, it's not just a first time writer thing. Like I could easily get stuck in one spot in my book and not move forward. It's always going to be a thing, I think, at least for me. Let me know if you're the same way, but even in editing, I can get stuck editing the same chapter over and over again instead of moving forward and realizing that if you edit all the way through the book, usually it will impact that place that you were editing and you might end up wanting to make changes later on. So it's good to also edit cohesively and do multiple passes as well. Those are my 5 tips and I'm gonna let you go because I know we all have novels to write. We've got to get going. So I'm wishing you all the words, happy writing, and I will talk to you again very soon. Bye. All right, just in case you don't know what fast drafting is, it's exactly what it sounds like. It's I'm too excited. Ha! I had coffee. Let's drink more coffee. That'll help. First one is that so you don't get, is that so? Is that so? Okay. All right. I don't usually drink coffee, but it's so good. Okay, calm down. I am tired, but also energized. Cheers.